Your smart TV, your thermostat, and your video doorbell are almost certainly sitting on the exact same network as your laptop, your phone, and whatever you use for online banking. Right now, all of them can see each other. All of them can talk to each other. And that's a much bigger problem than most people realize. Here's the uncomfortable truth about consumer IoT devices. They're built for convenience first and patched for security second, if at all. A cheap doorbell camera or a smart plug you bought for $20 is not held to the same security standard as your laptop. It doesn't need to be hacked directly to hurt you either. It just needs to be a stepping stone to something that is. That's what today's video is about. I'm going to show you why a flat home network, everything on one shared network, is a liability. Walk you through what a VLAN actually is without the enterprise jargon, and then set one up live on the same UCG Macs I've covered in past videos. By the end, your smart devices will still work exactly the way they always have. They just won't be able to touch anything that matters if one of them gets compromised. Let's start with why this matters. On a flat network, every device is a peer. Your laptop and your smart plug are, from the network's point of view, equally trusted. There's no wall between them. If your laptop gets infected, it can try to reach your smart plug. And if your smart plug gets compromised, which happens constantly because IoT firmware is often abandoned within a year or two of release, it can turn around and try to reach your laptop, your NAS, your file shares, anything else sitting on that same network. This isn't a hypothetical. Botnets built entirely from compromised cameras and routers have taken down major internet services in the past. That's the large-scale version. Smaller-scale versions of that same weakness play out inside home networks every day, quietly, without ever making headlines. The pattern is always the same. An attacker compromises one weak device, then uses it as a base to scan the rest of the network for whatever's actually valuable. A NAS full of family photos, a laptop with saved banking credentials, a work device you occasionally use from home. The device itself is rarely the target. It's the doorway. So the fix isn't buy better smart devices, because you can't fully control that. And frankly, even good brands ship vulnerabilities. The fix is containment. You assume some device on your network will eventually get compromised, and you build the network so that when it happens, it's stuck in a room with nothing valuable in it. That's exactly what a VLAN does. VLAN stands for Virtual Local Area Network, and here's the plain English version. It lets you split one physical network into multiple separate networks that can't talk to each other unless you explicitly allow it, without running a single extra cable or buying separate routers for each one. Think of your home network today as one big open-plan apartment. Everyone who lives there can walk into any room. A VLAN turns that into an apartment building instead. Same building, same physical wiring and electricity, but now every unit has its own locked door. Your laptop lives in one unit. Your smart TV and thermostat live in another. Nobody wanders in unless you hand them a key. The traffic for each VLAN gets tagged at the network level, and your router and switches use that tag to keep the group separated, even though they're all sharing the same physical hardware and the same internet connection. This is standard capability on the UCG Macs, and honestly on most decent consumer mesh systems now too. It's just usually buried a few menus deeper than people bother to look. If you watched my router buyer's guide or the UCG Macs review, you already know why I like this hardware for exactly this reason. It gives you real VLAN and firewall control without needing a networking certification to use it. This video is the direct follow-up to that one, and to the firewall rules video after it. If you haven't set up basic firewall rules yet, pause here and go do that first. VLANs and firewall rules work together, and what we're building today assumes those fundamentals are already in place. Alright, let's actually build this. Open the Unify app and go to Settings, then Networks. You're going to create a new network. I'd call it IoT, so it's unambiguous 6 months from now when you've forgotten why you set this up. Give it its own subnet, something like 192.168.20.1124, completely separate from your main network's range. Once that network exists, you have two ways to put devices on it. For anything wired, a smart hub plugged into a switch port. You assign that port to the IoT VLAN directly in the port profile settings. For anything wireless, which is most of your smart home gear, create a separate Wi-Fi network broadcasting under its own SSID and tie that SSID to the IoT VLAN instead of your main one. Here's a detail people skip and then wonder why nothing works right. Give the IoT SSID its own distinct name, not a variation of your main Wi-Fi name. Something like your last name IoT is fine. This matters because a lot of smart home apps ask you to select a network during setup. And if the names are too similar, you'll fat finger your way onto the wrong one constantly. Now for the part that actually delivers the security benefit. The firewall rule. Creating the VLAN alone does very little by itself. Some router setups still allow inter-VLAN traffic by default, which defeats the entire purpose. Go to Settings, then Firewall and Security, and create a rule blocking traffic from the IoT network to your main LAN network. Direction matters here. Block IoT to LAN specifically. You'll also want a second rule allowing your main LAN to reach into the IoT network, one way. This is what lets your phone still control your smart lights and check your doorbell app from the main network, while devices sitting on the IoT side can't turn around and probe your laptop or your file server. Save both rules and test them. Pull up a device on the IoT network and confirm you genuinely cannot reach something on your main LAN from it. Leave internet access open for the IoT via LAN in most cases, since these devices generally need it to phone home to their manufacturer's cloud service anyway. The goal here isn't cutting them off from the internet, it's cutting them off from your other devices. Now, the mistakes. The single most common one is stopping after step 1, creating the VLAN and the separate Wi-Fi network, but never actually writing the firewall rule that blocks inter-VLAN traffic. Without that rule, you've built separate rooms with no locks on the doors. It looks organized. It provides zero actual protection. Second mistake, being too aggressive with the block and breaking something you actually wanted to work. Smart home hubs, casting devices like Chromecast, and multi-room audio systems sometimes need to communicate directly with your phone or laptop using protocols that a strict one-way block can interfere with. If something stops working after you segment it, don't panic and undo everything. Figure out specifically what traffic that device needs and write a narrow rule allowing just that, rather than reopening the whole VLAN. Third mistake, treating VLAN segmentation as a replacement for basic device hygiene instead of an addition to it. Devices on the IoT VLAN still need their firmware updated, still need default passwords changed, still need unused features like remote cloud access disabled where you don't need them. Segmentation limits the blast radius if something goes wrong. It doesn't make the device itself secure. And a smaller but common one, forgetting DHCP and DNS settings on the new network. Each VLAN needs its own DHCP scope, so devices actually get IP addresses in the right range. This is usually handled automatically when you create the network in Unify, but it's worth confirming rather than assuming. If you're running Pi-hole like I covered in an earlier video, make sure the IoT network is actually pointed at it too. It's easy to set that up correctly on your main network, feel satisfied that ad blocking and DNS filtering are working, and completely forget the new VLAN needs the exact same treatment, which means your IoT devices are quietly bypassing protection you thought covered your whole house. Once this is done, take a minute and actually verify it. Don't just assume it worked. From a device on the IoT network, try to ping or browse to something on your main LAN, a file share, another computer's IP address. It should fail. From your main network, confirm you can still reach and control your smart devices normally. If both of those check out, you've done it right. This is a genuinely underused piece of home network security, mostly because it sounds like something only IT departments need. It isn't. If you followed along with the router buyer's guide, the UCG Mac setup, and the firewall rules video, this is the natural next layer on top of everything you've already built. And it's one of the highest value changes you can make for the amount of setup time it takes. If you haven't watched the firewall rules video yet, go back and start there before you try this. The two build directly on each other. Drop a comment if you get stuck on a specific rule, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Stay secure out there.